time to flex your muscles. What are you talking about, Brubaker? It's probably what you're wondering. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about flexing your intellectual muscles. Welcome to another episode of Windshield Wisdom, where I take you on a ride with me, riding shotgun, where I entertain and inform you about different elements of business strategy, marketing, branding, mindset for the entrepreneur, for the business owner, for the leader, any kind of leader. So when I talk about flexing your muscles, I don't mean in the gym or your physical muscles. I mean your intellectual muscles. What do you mean by that, Brew? Flexing your intellectual muscles. Well, we tend to, with everything we do, we tend to fall into patterns, you know? Like my pattern right now is I'm driving down the same road I always take from home to my office every day. It's a pattern. Sometimes I break the pattern intentionally. And when I do that, it carves out, not to get too deep and scientific on you, but it flexes different intellectual muscles. It forces you to kind of carve out new neural pathways for your brain in terms of literally navigating the world. And what does that do? Well, it stimulates creativity. I try and change up my routine a little bit, because when your routine, whether it's first thing in the morning, your work routine during the day, or even your nighttime routine, when that tends to get stale and you're a little too much on autopilot, routines turn into ruts. And there's definitely a difference between a routine and a rut. A routine serves you well, or at least it should, because there's a level of thought, scheduling, and intentionality about it. A rut can be a counterproductive pattern that you've just gotten comfortable with, or it's just convenient, and I hate when I hear this expression, it's just the way we do it this way because it's just the way we've always done things. We've always done it this way. Nothing kills your results quite like that phrase. Well, we've always done it that way. So rid that from your vocabulary, erase that from your hard drive, so to speak, and flex new intellectual muscles from time to time. One way in which I am doing that in a very intentional way is, as you know, I'm a writer, speaker, and author in the business really of content creation. My intellectual property resides between my ears, so to speak. It's the content I create. It is my unique message I share with the world. Well, if all I ever do is sit down in front of the laptop and bang out my thoughts on a Word document, that routine, at 5 a.m. every day can turn into a rut. So part of Windshield Wisdom right here, and part of podcasting on audio versus video, is changing the pattern a little bit. Flexing intellectual muscles in a different way. Audio versus the written word. Speaking your thoughts out versus typing them out. It all comes out differently. An additional way that I've really decided to challenge myself this year, well, let's go back to last year. Last year I took a stand-up comedy course. That was one of the most challenging things I've ever done personally or professionally in my entire life. Why? Because it's flexing a completely different intellectual muscle. Some people say they're, quote, naturally funny. No one's naturally super funny. The greatest comedians are the greatest writers. The greatest entertaining comedy shows you see on TV, like a sitcom, are great because they have great writers attached behind the scenes. So the thought that people are naturally funny is a complete myth and misnomer. You have to learn the art and science of writing comedy before you speak it. And it's a lot like digital marketing. You split test things, where you put a punchline, what the setup looks like, the story behind the setup. Test the same thing with different audiences. Test different things with the same audience. Figure out which gets the best result. In that case, it would be a laugh. In terms of digital marketing, copywriting, it would be sales, click-throughs on your link, your offer. So that was easily the biggest professional challenge of my life. And you get instant feedback. In a way, you don't get instant feedback from any other type of audience. There's always a delay, except in comedy. And you're immediately challenged from the moment you step up to the mic. People are sitting there saying, make me laugh. So you think you're funny? Okay, make me laugh. And make me do it again and again and again and again. It's incredibly challenging. I encourage everyone to try it, simply to get yourself out of your comfort zone, if for no other reason. And it's fun. It can be nerve-wracking. It can be turn your mind into a pretzel trying to write content. It's a completely different kind of content than writing an article, writing copy of any kind, writing a book, writing a memo, a report, an email, anything. It took me out of my comfort zone in a big way. It flexed very different intellectual muscles. So that was last year. This year, the way I am challenging myself is through songwriting. Been collaborating with several singer-songwriters. Andy Wills in Nashville and my buddy Cooper Wade down in Texas, doing some co-writing sessions via Zoom, because at the time of this recording, it's May 28th, 2020. Yeah, we're still under quarantine. So eventually I'd like to be able to get down there in person and visit with them and do a little songwriting session live and in living color. So why am I doing that? Besides the fact that I have a passion for music, entertainment, and specifically the genre of country music, because country music is at its core, at its essence, storytelling. Now you may be listening to this saying, I don't like the story. That's fine, that's your prerogative. But there are few, I would argue there isn't another genre of music that involves the art and science of storytelling quite like country music. It's real, it's authentic, it's about everyday America, middle America, which is most people. Blue collar, white, black, purple, doesn't matter your ethnicity. The message tends to resonate with a lot of our country. It resonates with me, I love it. So I decided to take a stab at songwriting. And it allows me to flex my intellectual muscles, my writing muscles, creatively in a very different way. The song, typically 2.5 minutes, maybe if it's for radio. You've got to be able to tell a complete story in 2.5 minutes. To give you some perspective, we're at the 9-minute mark of this video. 2.5 minutes to tell a complete story, start to finish, about a situation, a moment in time, a memory, a social ill, whatever the case might be, a relationship. 2.5. You only get 2.5 minutes, and much like comedy, there is an economy of words and a surgical precision that you need as a writer when writing comedy or writing a song. Well, what's this have to do with me, Brew? You're rambling on about writing. I'm not a writer. It has everything to do with you. Because if you want to get a better result at whatever you're doing, you need to find a way to flex those muscles that you use every day in a slightly different way. So let's take the example of going to the gym. You want to get a better result, don't just load the barbell up with weight and do flat bench press every single time you work out your chest in the gym. You need this concept of muscle confusion, stimulate different muscle fibers to tax your muscles at a deeper level and slightly different way in order to get a better result, in order to create gains in strength and endurance. Otherwise, you hit that rut. The routine turns into a rut, like we talked about, which is why you switch it from a flat bench with a barbell to an incline bench with dumbbells. You change the angle, you change how you balance the weight, the distribution of the weight, you vary the reps, you vary the amount of weight, vary the time in a workout, time between sets, to create that muscle confusion. Flexing the same muscles in a different way to get a better result. And that's what I'm talking about with you and your business. So maybe you're an online marketer. Flex your muscles in a slightly different way. Move some of your marketing offline, which I believe is essential anyway. You can't strictly have your eggs in one basket. Maybe you're a brick and mortar retailer. Flex your muscles in a different way by creating pop-up shops, collaborations, placing your product within other stores. This is by no means an exact how-to be-all end-all. I'm not the person that likes to give cookie cutter recipes, follow steps 1 through 10 exactly, and get a great result. That's not possible. That's the subject of another whole video, because everyone's market is a little different. Everyone's business is a little different. So I don't like to give specific directions. I prefer to be a compass instead of a roadmap, so to speak. I'm going to point you in the right direction, but it's up to you to create the routing and what will work best for you, step by step, to get from where you are to where you want to be. I'm going to point you in the right direction. I'm going to give you some creative ideas, but the actual implementation has to be up to you. Otherwise, it's going to fall flat. You're not going to get a good result. There's nuance involved in everything. And to suggest, a 10-point checklist could address the nuances of unique industries, markets, audiences, sellers, buyers, prospects, economies, countries. That's farcical. There's no way in hell. It's sexy. It sounds a little too convenient, which is probably why it sells. But it's also wrong. It's also inaccurate. And it won't serve you well. So I want to encourage you, use this as a compass. Not a roadmap, not a checklist, okay? Think about how you can flex your intellectual muscles, your team's intellectual muscles on a daily, weekly, monthly basis in order to get a better result. Change the way you lead a meeting. Who starts the meeting? Have someone different start it. That's one way. I've always thought in a meeting, the leader, the CEO, or whoever ought to be the last one to speak, so they're not planting preconceived notions in their team's head. They are not stating their opinion and then automatically kind of setting the stage for people not to want to have any kind of opposing thought or dissension. I think it's a recipe for failure when the leader speaks first. As I digress, but create different ways to break ruts for yourself. Maybe it is just driving a different way to work, right? Maybe it is just changing your routine a little bit. Maybe it's simply changing your communication plan. with your prospects or with your existing customers. Find a unique way to flex your intellectual muscles and test it and measure it and see how that result plays out. It won't be overnight. Certainly won't be overnight. Be patient, be creative, be bold, and that'll help you flex some new muscles and get new results you never had before. This is Coach Brew. If you've enjoyed this video, if you found it entertaining and informative, go ahead and give it a like, click the subscribe button on BrewTube here, and share it up if you know someone could benefit from it. Lastly, if you want more of content like this, whether it's delivered via the written word, spoken word, or video like you see here, go to coachbrew.com, that's coachbru.com, and subscribe to my email newsletter at the top of the page. It's called The Daily Brew. And when you do that, you're going to get a 12-page special report, how to double your sales, double your results. That's a $99 value. It's something that gets delivered monthly to the members of my inner circle. You can learn more about that on my website as well, so head on over to coachbrew.com. Flex those mental muscles. See you next time on Windshield Wisdom.